بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When the night fell on the desert campaign, a lonely voice was heard in the morning. Then she looked and saw someone approaching, one who would join her in her grieving. She had come to see her progeny and what had become of their destiny, but she could not let her to go closer. She did not want her to really see. "I do not want you to go further. You will only see pain and horror. Body with no head, 72 dead." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Before you were born, my loving daughter, I was shown this by your grandfather. He told me what was to be for my son and how it would be a tragedy. My brother told me of this day as well. I knew what was to become of me, but even when then I could not stand witness when I saw a shimmer walking to him. My mother, you cannot bear to see what I did to his broken body. Arrow in his heart, liver ripped apart." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." "Oh mother," when he stood and addressed the people who had now turned on him, he cried and shed the bitterest of tears. "I never saw such a thing from him. My brother, who you define what is brave, how can I stand to see you crying? I cry not for what shall happen to us, but that the cause of their doom is me." Even in this final moment, He could only think of their torment. How could they kill him? He came to help them. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Then her mother's eyes began to wander. Another body she had to see. A new grave had been dug in the morning. A young infant in there was buried. There lay the young Qasim, son of Hassan, and next to him the older Ali. But it was Ali Asghar. She came to the one they killed in his father's arms. What was the sin of this poor child? When the arrow hit, he had wailed. He cried, I'm thirsty. Had they no mercy? Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra.
आवाज़ बुलंद सलवात। फिर भी सलवात। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो? तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो? तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। इस आलम गुर्बत में तुम्हें जान दूं कैसे? इस दश्त मुसीबत में तुम्हें जान दूं कैसे? इस वक्त क़यामत में तुम्हें जान दूं कैसे? ऐ लाल जो तुम इज़्न विगा मांग रहे हो, बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो? तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। क्या गुजरेगी इस बाप के दिल पर नहीं सोचा? तूने मेरी जोली अकबर नहीं सोचा? मर जाऊंगा मैं तुझसे बिछड़ कर नहीं सोचा? तुम मुझसे ज़ईफ़ी का सा मांग रहे हो, आपसे मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो? तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। दिल रोता है नजरों से अगर दूर हो बेटा, किस तरह जुदाई तेरी मंजूर हो बेटा? तुम ही मेरी आंखें हो, मेरा नूर हो बेटा, मुझसे मेरी आंखों की जिया मांग रहे हो, आपसे मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। दुनिया से गया जिस घड़ी महबूब खुदा का, नाना की जियारत को तड़पता था नवासा। ऐ लाल तुझे इसलिए खालिक से था मांगा, मकबूल हुई मेरी दुआ मांग रहे हो, आपसे मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। इस्लाम पे खुद अपना लहू रन में बहाओ, सीने पे सीना शान से मैदान में खाओ, तस्वीर पैगंबर की तहे खाक मिलाओ। क्या इसलिए मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। एक रोज तुझे आन के मांगा था फूफी ने, 18 बरस नाजों से पाला था फूफी ने, बेटों से भी ज्यादा तुम्हें चाहा था फूफी ने। एहसान जो ज़ैनब ने किया मांग रहे हो, बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहे हो। बाबा मेरे बाबा, बाबा मेरे बाबा, बाबा मुझे मालूम है क्या मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मुझे मालूम है क्या मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मुझे अम्मा ने भी कुछ दर्स दिया है, आदाब वफा से मुझे आगाह किया है। पहले मैं मरूं आपसे वादा ये लिया है, बस इसलिए मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मुझे मालूम है क्या मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मुझे अहवाल दिले जार पता है सख्त बहुत मंजिल दुश्वार पता है, और दीन का मुश्किल में है सरदार पता है। यूं आप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मुझे मालूम है क्या मांग रहा हूँ, एक बाप से मरने की रिजा मांग रहा हूँ। बाबा मेरे बाबा, बाबा मेरे बाबा, आवाज बुलंद सलवात। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। दरवाजा जल गया था तब फातिमा के घर का, अब ख़ैमे जल रहे हैं, मंजर वही है बाबा। दामन भी जल गया है, चादर भी छिन गई है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। दुर्रे लगाए मुझ पर, खाए है ताज़ियाने, दादी की तरह मुझ पर बरसे गए तमाचे। कल का वो सानहा था, रुदाद ये नहीं है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। दोनों हुए यतीम और दोनों को बाप का गम, दोनों ने जालिमों से छुप कर किया है मातम। दोनों के गम में दुनिया आंसू बहा रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। पहलू में फातिमा के मोहसिन को मार डाला, हाथों पे तेरे बाबा असगर ने तीर खाया। असगर के खून से खुशबू मोहसिन की आ रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। जख्मी है कान मेरे, जख्मी है मेरा चेहरा, बालों से लग रही हूँ बाबा मैं एक ज़ईफ़ा, जो फातिमा पे गुजरी मुझ पर गुजर रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। मैं ऊँट से ज़मीं पर राहों में गिर रही हूँ, दादी के दर्द को मैं अपना बना चुकी हूँ। मेरी भी फसलियों से आवाज आ रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। दरबार आम में वो, दरबार आम में मैं, जिंदा जान में वो, जिंदान शाम में मैं। वो उनकी बेकसी थी, ये मेरी बेकसी है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है। बाबा तेरी सकीना हर जुल्म सह रही है, माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बन गई है।
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद
सलवात। प्यासा में जिहाद, कोई नौजवान न हो, मजरूह के कलेजे में नौके सेना न हो, रैयत के हाथ कैदी कोई बादशाह न हो, सब कुछ हो एक बाग़े जवानी ख़िज़ां न हो, देखे नहीं ये जुल्म किसी इनक़िलाब में, अकबर पे सारे हादिसे गुज़रे शबाब में, प्यासा दमे जिहाद। सलवात पढ़ें। बारे दीगर सलवात। अकबर ने कहा रो के ए दर्द जरा थम जा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। अकबर ने कहा रो के ए दर्द जरा थम जा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। ए बहते लहू रुक जा, है वास्ता सुगरा का, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। पट्टी मेरे बाबा ने आँखों पे नहीं बांधी, दी है खुले हाथों से रन में मेरी कुर्बानी। ए
सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। अकबर ने कहा रो के ऐ दर्द ज़रा थम जा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। यसरब की तरफ आँखें हर दम मेरी रहती हैं, अब वक्त बहुत कम है, सांसें भी उलझती हैं। कासिद मेरी सुगरा के जल्दी से ज़रा आ जा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। देखा नहीं जाएगा आँखों से ये कभी मेरी, तड़पूंगा अगर मैं तो तकलीफ उन्हें होगी। उल्फत का तकाजा है लर्ज़े न बदन मेरा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। अरमान जो दिल में है दिल में ही न दफना दें, ऐसा न हो ज़ैनब को जाकर कोई बतला दे। प्यारी फूफी अम्मा से बर्दाश्त न ये होगा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। मरने का नहीं गम है तो बस इतना है, दरवाजे पे मुद्दत से बैठी हुई सुगरा है। सुनकर ये खबर शायद मर जाएगी वो दुखिया, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। अकबर ने कहा रो के ऐ दर्द ज़रा थम जा, बाबा मेरे सीने से सीना खींच रहे हैं। सलावत।
फातिहा। लाश अकबर की जो मक़तल से उठा लाए हुसैन, नौजवां को सफ़े अव्वल से उठा लाए हुसैन, और चाँद को शाम के बादल से उठा लाए हुसैन, जां बलब शेर को जंगल से उठा लाए हुसैन, और दी सदा लाशे पे से आन के ले जा बानो, और छिद गया बर्छी से अकबर का कलेजा बानो, छिद गया बर्छी से अकबर का कलेजा बानो, और देख ले आखिरी दीदार पे सर मरता है, सामने आँखों के ये नूर नजर मरता है। अब कोई दम में तेरा रश्क कमर मरता है, मुंह से बाहर है जुबान तशना जिगर मरता है, दम है सीने में रुका जख्मों से खून जारी है। हाय बानो तेरे घर लुटने की तैयारी है, हाय बानो तेरे घर लुटने की तैयारी है। लाश अकबर की जो
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। Assalamu alaikum mu'mineen. Just a reminder, we have the Ashura program in the back. Please carry one with you as you leave tonight. And we have membership forms in the back as well for all new members. Please fill those out so that we can have your contact information. And inshallah, we'll have the school excuse letters as the week goes for children who will be missing school on the 10th. And with that, I'll request Maulana Qazwini to come deliver his 6th lecture for the night. Session, if you could.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين. صلى الله وسلم عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله وسلم عليك يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد. One of the great father-son stories illustrated in the Quran is that of our Prophet Ibrahim ala nabina wa ala alihi afdal salatu wassalam, and his son Ismail. And of course we are told that both Ismail and Ishaq, the sons of Ibrahim, the ones who would give rise to the progeny of Ali Ibrahim, the family of Ibrahim, both were bestowed upon Ibrahim at a very old age, an age where practically it did not make sense to have children. And so when finally they are brought to life, he says, Alhamdulillah alladhi wahaba li ala al-kibari Ismail wa Ishaq. Inna Rabbi sami' ad-du'a. He says, praise be to God, the one that granted me Ibrahim and Ishaq at an old age, at a time where it was not practical, at a time where I did not believe it would happen, at a time where my wife did not believe that it would happen. But it's very interesting how sometimes we do not expect things to happen in our life, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us and gives us better than we had originally expected. So they had lost hope. And the story was from that, do not lose hope. When the angels came to him, they said, we're here to give you glad tidings. And in one narration of the Quran, because it's narrated a number of times throughout the Quran, in one part, he laughs and he's hesitant and he's sarcastic. He says, what's the good news? You're here to tell me that I'm an old man? I already know this. And then they say that, no, do not lose hope. We are here to give you glad tidings of a son. And another part of the Quran says that his wife heard this and she burst out laughing because she didn't expect it either. How do I, at an old age, have the power to bear a child? It was not practical. And so from there, the journey continues. And it's interesting because some of what is in the Quranic narrative corresponds with some of what is in the biblical narrative. So for instance, we read in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 20, the way that Ishmael, is described. He is described as someone who will be fruitful, someone who God will multiply his progeny exceedingly, someone who from his progeny they will give rise to a great nation, and among that great nation there are 12 princes. And that number 12 is very significant in the Islamic and the Judeo-Christian context. And the journey begins from there. Part of what was so significant was the dua of Ibrahim. Ibrahim says the following in the Quran. He says, رَبَّنَا وَاجْعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ. O Allah. And this is after all of the tasks were completed. He says, allow us to continue in our submission. Sometimes we achieve something great, we accomplish something great, and we think that's it. You've reached the top of the world. You've reached the climax, and there's no going down from there. But what he says is allow us, O Allah, to continue in submission, because all of our success came from the fact that we submitted to you. It wasn't because I was a genius. It wasn't because I had some special talent. It wasn't because I knew what to do, because certainly Ibrahim at the moment, he went with the flow. He didn't know exactly what to do. I mean, how would you know that you had to take, how would you know that you would have to take your spouse and you would have to travel to a barren land, a land where there was no life and there was no sign of life, and that you would reestablish the house of God, build upon the foundations, call people, and from that time until now, millions of people go every single year. Some of the things that we do in our life, you realize that you can't figure all this stuff out by yourself. If you go back and do an audit of your life, and you look at the greatest moments in your life, the greatest moments of achievement, the greatest moments of success, and sometimes we don't think about how that success came to us, but if you think about it and do an audit, most of the time, it's because someone believed in you. It's because someone gave you a chance. It's because someone prayed for you. Sometimes you don't even know that that person is praying for you. Sometimes you don't know that your mother was praying for you. You don't know that your father was praying for you. You don't know that your ancestors prayed for you. Ibrahim, he prays for himself, but he prays for his descendants as well. One of the narrations tells us in Uyun Akhbar al-Rida, and this is a book that is, it's a compilation of the narrations of Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. I mentioned this narration during the Friday prayer, but I'll repeat it again for those who were not present. Al-Imam al-Rida alayhi salam is asked one day. He gives a commentary of the verses of the Quran that say, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. This verse is revealed in the story of Ibrahim when he places Ismail in the position to prepare him for slaughter after seeing that dream repetitively. what the narration says is وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ, that we replaced that deed with a great sacrifice. And so when you read the commentary, you assume that the great sacrifice is the sheep. You assume that the great sacrifice is the ram. But Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa rada alayhi salam gives us deeper insight. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He gives us deeper insight into this verse. He tells us that after the ordeal, after Ibrahim arrived in Mecca, after Hajar went between Safa and Marwa, after he placed his son on the altar for the sacrifice, that Ibrahim turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, "Oh Allah, I wish that you had allowed me to carry through with that sacrifice. I wish that you had allowed me to carry through and take the life of Ismail." He says, "Because I want to be able to stand in front of you on the day of judgment with the broken heart of a bereaved man, so that you would reward me for that bereavement." So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the following. He says, "Ya Ibrahim," he says, "tell me, who is the most beloved creature of mine to you?" Ibrahim says, "Ya Rabb, ma khalaqta khalqan ahabbu ilayya min habibika Muhammad." He says, "You have created no..." Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, "You have not created anyone who is more beloved to me, to my heart, than your final messenger." And some people ask, well, what is the relationship between the prophet and the final messenger? We have in our narrations that every single one of the prophets from Adam till Ahmed, till Isa, who said there will be a messenger after me by the name of Ahmed, all of them were informed of the name of the prophet and of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Every single one of them. And they recognized that nur, they recognized that light. They were in existence before they came into existence. We say to the Imams, خَلَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ أَنْوَارًا فَجَعَلَكُمْ بِعَرْشِهِ مُحْدِقِينَ, that you were created and you existed already in the form of light, and then when it was time, He introduced you to this world, عَالَمُ الْخَلْقِ, this creation. So Ibrahim says, "No one is more beloved to me than your final messenger." Allah says to him, He says, "Ibrahim, are his sons more beloved to you, or are your sons more beloved to you?" He says, "Of course, his sons are more beloved to me than my own sons." He says, "What is harder for your heart to bear? That his sons will be killed against his will, or your son is killed by your choice?" Because Ibrahim had the choice. He was the one who saw the dream. He was the one who held the knife. It wasn't someone else that was doing it and he was watching. He says, "What is harder for your heart to bear? The fact that you would have to take the life of your son with your choice, through your choice, or that his sons, their lives would be taken away against their will?" He said, "Of course, the second." He says, "Oh Ibrahim, then if that's what you wanted, then I have replaced this sacrifice with an even greater sacrifice, so that you could stand in front of me on the day of judgment with the heart of a bereaved father, and even more than that. And I have given humanity after you the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, so that all of them can share in this sentiment. This is a gift that I have given to mankind." When Ibrahim hears this, he begins to weep. Al-Imam Rada alayhi salam, he says, that's the meaning of وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ, that we gave him that great sacrifice. So from that time, Ibrahim was informed of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and what would happen. So going back to the story of Ibrahim, we find that much of the significance of that story comes from the fact that he had his son Ismail participate with him in all of the rituals. He had him participate with him in the building of the Kaaba, and his dua comes after that. And so the example that Ibrahim alayhi salam gives us is that leadership is not just to command. Leadership is to show by example. The way that we build trust with people is that we show them what we are doing by example. So Ibrahim sees the dream, And we know that the dreams of the prophets, they are a reflection of reality. There's an actual sign and there's an actual command behind them. So we are told of a few different dreams of the prophets in the Quran. We are told of the dream of the prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, how he sees 11 planets and the sun and the moon prostrating to him, and he informs his father. And that sign, he understands towards the end of the chapter, that it was a sign that his brothers and his father and mother would prostrate when they see him in that very high position. So that was a dream that came true. قال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي قد جعلها ربي حقا. It was true what I saw in the beginning. That's one dream. The second dream is the dream of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what he sees is that as a community they are entering Mecca once more after leaving Mecca. And God tells him that dream that you see will come true. It will be a reality. And the third dream is the dream of Ibrahim. The dreams of the prophets are true. Now sometimes there are dreams that don't come true. So in the story of Yusuf, we are told that the prisoners that he shared a cell with, that spoke about their dreams. One saw a dream that he was serving the king. One saw a dream that the birds were eating bread from a tray on top of his head. When people did not know what that meant, and when the king also saw a dream and people did not know what that meant, they referred to it as what? Adghathu ahlam. Those are dreams that have no meaning. And if you've noticed, most of the time, our dreams, they're bizarre, they're ridiculous. Some research suggests that the part of our brain that is intellectual, that calculates, that is shut off while we're dreaming. And that's why when we see dreams, sometimes they're bizarre. Sometimes they don't make sense. And you wake up and you think, what did I just see in my dream? It's because that part of the brain is not working. The part of the brain that tells us this makes sense or this doesn't make sense. But the dreams of the prophets we know are true. With that, even though Ibrahim knew that it was a true dream, he saw himself sacrificing his son, his leadership style was to consult his son because his son was involved. And in that, there's a lesson for us. How many times when there's a family decision do we consult our children? How many times when there's an organizational decision do we consult our youth? Or is it that the youth are just there in many organizations? Why they don't thrive is because there's no transfer of leadership. This happens in many organizations where there's no grooming and there's no transfer of leadership. That the youth or the children, their role is just to attend. There's no ownership at all. Why would someone stick around in an organization if there's no ownership? If they feel like they don't own anything, if they feel like they're not participating in decision making, there's no sense for anybody to stick around. So we also have to ask ourselves, as we grow our Islamic organizations, are the people that we are invested in, which are the young people, are they even part of the decision-making process or not? It's a tough question. But Ibrahim, he asks his son. He says, فَانْظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى? What do you see? I see this dream. I know it's true, and I know what I have to do, but what do you see? Now, it wasn't that he was going to change his mind, but some commentators, they say that it was a very tough decision because imagine after how many years, 90 years, 100 years, however old he was, God gives him the gift, he's ecstatic about it, he's happy about it, all of a sudden he sees a dream that the very gift that God gave him now has to disappear. Imagine how he was feeling on the inside. So he asks his son Ismail. Ismail says, "Satajiduni ya abati if'al ma tu'mar, satajiduni insha'Allahu min as-sabirin." He says, do what you are told, do what you see, and you will find that I am truly patient. Sometimes maybe we fear taking counsel from our parents, or we fear taking counsel from our children because we fear that they're not going to agree. But most of the time, if we are able to explain our intentions to our parents or to our children in a very patient manner, most of the time we agree. But because we have not taught the art of communication, and the Quran tells us about communication, because we don't know how to sometimes communicate clearly, there's miscommunication and decisions are done without consultation. But he asks his son, he says, what is your opinion? the son says, "Satajiduni insha'Allahu min as-sabirin." So Ibrahim had a great model of leadership. And it's because of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him. So one of the things that I want to just point to for a few minutes is asking ourselves the question in these nights that what is our model of leadership? There was an example that I read that was very interesting, and this was written by a youth psychologist. He said, one of the earliest examples, one of the earliest experiments that we learn in school when it comes to biology and the life cycle is the example of the caterpillars to butterflies. And you learn how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. In most schools, they teach this example. You learn exactly how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. It has to go through a transformative experience. So that little caterpillar, it develops a cocoon. It's something that it encloses itself within, a little habitat, a little shelter, and in there it develops. It develops the strength so that it can go out into the world and it can fly. It can be the insect that it was intended to be. It can play the role that it was intended to play. And so he writes about his own experience, looking at it from a youth psychology and a youth development perspective. He says that one of the earliest upsets I had in life, earliest upsetting moments is, for the first time I saw a caterpillar, turning into a cocoon. And so you have to wait a few days or a few weeks or however long it is for it to develop on its own. So in there it develops the wings, it develops the strengths. And we know that when it's ready, it bursts out of that cocoon and it flies away. He said, so as I was watching it, a day passed by, 2 days, 3 days, he said, I started to get a little impatient. And then he said, I thought to myself, well, why don't I help the little guy out? Maybe he's struggling. And so he says, I took a sharp object or a knife and I just a little bit of a slit in the cocoon. He said, nothing happened. He said, okay, well, I waited and then I grew, my impatience, it grew. You know where the story is going. So he says, I cut a little bit more. I opened it a little bit more. And then finally I opened it enough to where the, whatever it was, caterpillar, half-formed butterfly fell out. And he said, I was so upset because I thought I was helping the caterpillar, but when it fell out, it was discolored, it was deformed, it couldn't fly, its wings were not fully developed until finally it died. He says, but on that day I learned a very good lesson that with life cycles and maturity, a lot of it comes from preparation. So he writes this as a preface to his book. And then he relates that to parenting styles. He says that sometimes with parenting styles, we cut the cocoon a little bit too early and we rush. And so I'll share a little bit of what he says in terms of parenting styles. And to each one of these parenting styles, he gives a name. And so I'll share some of this with you and what he talks about as a solution, as a child and youth psychologist, what he has seen are effective methods. He said there are different types of parents. Number one, you have helicopter parents. Some of this may be interesting, some of it may be amusing, but a lot of it's true. He says helicopter parents. He says the helicopter parents are the ones that, like a helicopter, when it hovers close, what happens when sometimes a helicopter is hovering and you feel like it's chasing you down. He says some parents, they're like a helicopter, they hover too close to their children. They want to protect the children and they want to make sure that nothing is in their path. He says instead of protecting the children and making sure that nothing is in their path, make sure that your child instead, a better investment of your time, is to make sure that your child has the strength and the skill and the emotional resilience that if there is something in their path, they'll be able to overcome it without you hovering above them. So that comes from teaching principles, morals, and values, all which come through our example. He says another type are dry cleaner parents. What's a dry cleaner parent? By the way, I say this, sometimes when I give these examples, I see a lot of youth and children, their eyes light up and they smile because they think I'm taking a hit and criticizing their parents. This isn't just to the parents, this is to the children, because one day you will also become parents as well. So dry cleaners. What do you do with a dry cleaner? You drop it off and you come 3 days later. And this is one of the challenges that we have in the Islamic community. Brothers and sisters, what we do here in the Majlis of the 10 days of Ashura, Islamic schools, weekend schools, that's at best 5 or 10%. And sometimes we find in organizations where a parent will bring their child and they will expect a miracle to happen. So there's no preparation done at home. There's no preparation done of the environment. They bring their child, they drop them off, and they expect a miracle to happen. And in reality, it doesn't happen, especially with the type of world that we're dealing with today, where negativity and where indecency has become intrusive. It shows up on your phone, it shows up on your TV, it shows up on your devices, which means you have to become a little bit more proactive, you have to prepare better, and you have to become a little bit more aggressive with the situation. So he says, dry cleaner parents. He says, in that case, you have to really reevaluate your priorities. Where am I investing my time? Okay, this one, I think exists more in Middle Eastern communities than anywhere else. Volcano parents. What does volcano do? A volcano sits and simmers, sometimes for hundreds of years, sometimes for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, when the time is right, it explodes, and all of the villagers within 100 miles, they have to flee because of the anger and the wrath and the destruction. So you have volcano parents. And he says in many of these times, we need to also deal with our own anger issues. If you're a parent, sometimes you need to look inside, and sometimes therapy is not such a bad idea. There are bullied parents. Bullied parents they're like a doormat. Anything their kid wants from them happens right away. And the child who's 3 years old runs the entire household. It's as if the parents are almost non-existent. He says in that situation, you need a backbone. You need support. And you need the support of people. It's not bad to ask for support from people. And finally, the commando parents. The commando parents are the ones that they demand perfection. Everything has to be perfect. And in reality, nobody is perfect, and nobody will ever be perfect. And sometimes we expect too much out of our children than they can handle. Sometimes we expect too much of our parents. This also happens the opposite way. Sometimes people, they say, well, my dad spoke to me like this, and my mom spoke to me like this, and the father has passed away 30 years ago. It's not that we need to get over things, because our memory, some things are ingrained in our memory. But remember, perfection is not practical. Sometimes we need to forgive our children, and sometimes we need to forgive our parents. But that only comes when we have the ability to forgive ourselves. Because if we don't have forgiveness in our own hearts for ourselves, there's no way that you can give forgiveness to other people. So you have to make your heart receptive to forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you did. Now, I want to shift the attention to Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar, we are told that because he saw the example of his father, because he saw the example of his uncle, because he saw that example, that allowed him to develop his character. Everything that he followed was not because Imam Hussein was preaching to him, but because he saw an example, he saw leadership. And what's missing in our homes and in our countries and in our societies is not technology, it's not medicine, it's leadership and character and personal integrity. So Ali al-Akbar saw nothing but character, integrity, morality happening in front of him. He saw courage, he saw bravery, he saw willingness to fight, he saw love. All of that he saw as an example in front of him. And narrations tell us that Ali al-Akbar was the most similar person to his grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. كان أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسول الله. The most similar person in his demeanor, in the way that he spoke, in his physical appearance. One narration tells us that a man, a non-Muslim man, one day sees the Prophet in his dream. And the Prophet tells him to go to Medina. When he wakes up from the dream, he goes to Medina. He finds Imam Hussein alayhi salam there in his presence. He accepts Islam. When he accepts Islam, he turns to Imam Hussein and he begins to describe what he saw and who he saw in his dream, and how he was blown away by the beauty of Rasulullah. That it captured his heart, it captured his mind. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he inquires about that, and the man, he turns to him, he says, do you have anyone in your household or anything that resembles Rasulullah? Just so I can get one more glimpse of him. You know, sometimes you see a beautiful dream and you think, I wish I could see that dream again. And so he says, do you have anything or anyone that resembles Rasulullah? He says, yes, wait here. He brings for him Ali al-Akbar, who was young at that day. He sees him. He says, yes, this is the person that I saw in my dream. He says, Imam says to him, he says, what would you do, O man? He says, what would you do if this young boy was in harm's way? If he was in danger's way? How would you feel? The man says, I would do everything I can to protect him. I would love him. I would do whatever is in my capacity. He says, then what would you do if you saw him in a situation out in the battlefield, under the swords of the enemy, under the spears and the arrows of the enemy? He says, this is the one that we look to when we long for Rasulullah. So on that day, brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as he prepared his Ahlul Bayt, as he prepared his household, some narrations tell us that the first among his household to go out into the battlefield was Ali al-Akbar. And he had inherited those attributes of bravery, of strength. One narration tells us that on the way to Karbala, that Ali al-Akbar noticed his father, Imam Hussein, on the camel. He was exhausted physically and mentally, so he would fall asleep and he would wake up. He would fall asleep and he would wake up, and every time he would say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ali al-Akbar turns to him, he says, Father, what is bothering you? He says, Awalasna ala al-haq. Are we not on the path of truth? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, Bala, yes, we are on the path of truth. Ali al-Akbar, he says, إِذَنْ لَا نُبَالِي وَقَعَ الْمَوْتُ عَلَيْنَا أَمْ وَقَعْنَا عَلَى الْمَوْتِ. Then we should not mind whether we fall upon death or death falls upon us. As long as we are sure of our path, as long as we are sure of our destination, it does not matter what happens from now until then. So Ali al-Akbar on that day, he wears his armor, he takes his sword, he is preparing to go out into the battlefield. Imam Hussein alayhi salam sends his son out into the battlefield. But before that, he raises his hands for dua. He says, Oh Allah, bear witness upon those people. فإنه قد برز إليهم غلام أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسولك وكنا إذا اشتقنا إلى وجه رسول الله نظرنا إلى وجه هذا الغلام. He says that, Oh Allah, bear witness that when we longed to see our Prophet, our grandfather, we would look to the face of Ali al-Akbar, and now he is being taken away from us. Umar ibn Sa'ad, at that moment, he rejoices. He knows he is taking something and someone dear from Imam Hussein. Imam turns to Umar ibn Sa'ad. He says, La'anak Allah. He says, may God curse you, for you are bereaving me, and may God bereave you and take away from you your children in the same way that you are taking away from me mine. Ali al-Akbar goes out into the battlefield. Some narrations tell us he began to recite, Ana Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali, Nahnu wa Rabbil Bayti awla bin Nabi, أضربكم بالسيف حتى ينثني ضرب غلام هاشمي علوي تالله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي. If you do not know me, I am Ali, the son of Hussein, the son of Ali. I will strike you with my sword until it breaks. And by God, the one whose father is not known shall not rule over us. Some of the enemy, they looked to the battlefield and they were confused. It is as if Rasulullah himself had emerged into the battlefield. Ali al-Akbar goes out to the battlefield. Imam Hussein is standing outside of the tent. The whole time he is looking towards his son. Layla, the mother of Ali, is sitting inside of the tent, and she is not looking directly towards her son. Rather, she is looking to the face of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Hussein, all of a sudden the facial expression of the Imam changes. She turns to him, she says, Sayyidi Aba Abdullah, hal usiba waladi bishay? Is there something that has happened to my son that your expression has changed? He says, no, Layla, but there is a warrior that has emerged into the battlefield, and I am afraid that he will overtake my son. He says, and stay inside of the tent and make dua for your son that he will return. For I heard Rasulullah say, dua al-umm mustajab bihaqqi waladiha, that if a mother does a dua for her son, then surely it will be answered by God. She turned her hands towards the sky. Her dua was the following. She said, Ya radda Yusuf ila Yaqub. Oh, he who brought Yusuf back to Yaqub after many years. Ya kashif al-kurabi an Ayyub, the one who removed the affliction from Ayyub. Urdud alayya waladi, bring back for me my son. At that moment, Ali al-Akbar comes back to the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He says, Sayyidi Aba Abdullah. He says, Al-atashu qad qatalani wa thiqlu al-hadidi ajhadani. He says that the thirst is killing me. He says that the weight of the armor is pressing down on me. Is there anything for me to drink? Even one sip of water to bring back my strength? Aba Abdullah alayhi salam, he turns to him. He says, my dear son, I am more thirsty than you are. He shows him his tongue, how dry it was when Ali al-Akbar sees how thirsty his father is. He turns back into the battlefield and he charges at the enemy. As he is charging at the enemy, he turns back. He says, Assalamu alayka, ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka, ya Abata. He says, now I am seeing my grandfather, Rasulullah. He is offering me a cup of water to quench my thirst. And he says that there is a cup of water from the paradise which is waiting for you. فَالْعَجَلْ الْعَجَلْ, come to us, execute your mission. And as Ali al-Akbar is charging towards the enemy, narrations tell us that one of the enemies, one of the marksmen, he takes a spear, he throws it towards the direction of Ali al-Akbar, and it lands in his chest. As it lands in his chest, the blood gushes down. The blood covers the eyes of the horse, and the horse, instead of taking him back towards the camp of Hussein, takes him directly towards the camp of Umar ibn Sa'd, where the enemy come around him. They surround him with arrows. They surround him with their swords. He is struck from all directions. He is struck from all sides. Imam Hussein alayhi salam charges out into the battlefield. His son Ali is now on the floor. The spear is broken into his chest. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he takes his cheek and he places it on the cheek of Ali al-Akbar. He says, Bunayya Ali, ala dunya ba'daka al-afa. He says, my son Ali, life is not worth living after you. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين.
शाम का बाजार अली अकबरम है गुले गुलजार अली